Closed Cinema podcast. Joining me tonight, I have Kieran. How you doing, Kieran?
Hello. As soon as you start podcasting, your voice gets 8% posher. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Because I don't want them to know. I don't want them to know where I'm from. I've got such shame.
Anyway,
hi Tara.
Hello, Melissa. Lovely to see you again.
Lovely to see you. Lovely. And Jonathan, how's it going?
Pip pip, friends of the internet.
I realise that, like, when I do podcasting, I start leaning into my work. You know how everyone has, like, a voice A on the phone?
Yes.
And B at work?
Yeah.
I've realised working from home, they combine and become, like, some kind of super monstrous voice where everything's very clipped and you laugh a little bit too much and too politely.
she really enunciates her
Very true.
T's.
Yeah.
It's very, crisp.
Very crisp.
Crisp.
Very crisp, yes.
Anyway,
So welcome back to this podcast. I can't remember the last time we did this, but we're rolling with it. It's funny times, it's strange times. So the topic for this week's podcast came to me in a dream. When I say a dream, I mean one Sunday night I had nothing else to do, and I was watching what I consider one of my favourite movies ever, Slumdog Millionaire. I love that movie. I think it's well made, it's beautifully shot, the soundtrack is great, and I love the characters. Also, I thought, whilst watching this film, I realised how unhealthy the central love story is in that movie. And it really bothered me because I have loved this film ever since it came out. And I'm only now realising that Jamal has an unhealthy obsession with Latika. And I wanted to throw it to the room for people to kind of revisit some of their favourite love stories and see if it actually is a healthy relationship or not. So, would anyone like to kick off? No one wants to kick off. I see Tara shaking her head. So, Tara, would you like to start?
No! I think you should expand on your Slumdog Millionaire first.
Ugh, fine. So, anyway, has everyone seen Slumdog Millionaire?
Yes.
Indeed.
Great. Anyone hasn't seen it who's listening, all two of you, spoilers. So, the central premise is around three children, two of whom are brothers, one who is a little girl who they meet when they're young. And one of the boys, Jamal, loves her loves Latika from when he's a child, and they kind of grow up and grow apart, and he continually tries to find her, which sounds very, very romantic. And in a way it kind of is, except for when they are together as children, they're just friends, and then you see them again as teenagers, and again, they are just friends when he finds her, and to be fair, rescues her from a life of presumably prostitution. So I get she's grateful, but they're again only shown to be friends. When they are adults, immediately it's that he loves her. I don't know how he could love her, because whilst they spent a decent amount of time together when they were young children, when they are teenagers, they're only back together again for at most a week. So how did these feelings develop in an actual setting? It seems like it's all stuff that he has constructed in his head. Then one day, he's able to track her house down, goes to her house by by pretending to be someone who works at the house, essentially breaks in.
Yep.
She sees him, and he's like, I love you, come away with me. And initially, she hugs him, and she's like, oh, I'm so glad to see you, because she's got a horrible life, she's in an abusive relationship that she doesn't want to be in. Fair enough. But she very quickly kind of realises, wait, no, what you're doing right now is endangering not only your life, but my life by you being here, because the guy I'm with could really hurt both of us. I want you to go. And he's like, no, come away with me, do it for love. And she's like, no, leave and forget me. He's like, no, I will wait for you at a train station every single day at 5 o'clock until you come and find me. And it's a bit like, dude, she told you to leave and forget about her. But then she does go to the train station, and it's very lovely and romantic, but it's a bit like, I don't know enough about these two characters to know why they love each other, other than the fact that Jamal has an obsession with her that has lasted since childhood. So, whilst I think the movie is beautiful, and I think that ultimately the love story works for me if you just kind of ignore the very uncomfortable fact that he is obsessed about her and stalks her and goes against her wishes.
Solid. very powerful.
That was a very powerful rant there about Slumdog Millionaire.
Do you still love the movie?
I still love the movie, but it was very strange watching something which I loved and had considered very romantic and seeing it through a different lens of, hang on, wait, no, he's ignoring what she's saying. He doesn't really know her as a person, he just knows her as a thing that he wants. So she's kind of painted as an object. However, where I kind of came around on it in the end is because both their characters are fairly thin in terms of personality. You don't really get to know who each of them are as individuals because it isn't hugely the focus of the story. So I was like, well, maybe it's okay that she is kind of a bit of a vacuum because he's kind of a vacuum as well. But it did make me a bit uncomfortable.
Okay, fair. I'm gonna call my pocket here and say when we go around and talk about all these movies, it's always going to be that writers write slightly abusive things that men do, or maybe not abusive, but like problematic things that men do as romantic.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, obsession is apparently healthy. Anger is apparently healthy and passionate. I'm sure we'll see these come up
And
time
not
and
taking
again.
no for an answer is desirable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, admittedly, I feel like Jamal here is... Of all the things we see in films of men displaying problematic behaviour, like not taking no for an answer and stuff, Jamal is probably kind of on the mild end.
He is on the mild end, but where I found it interesting is that his character is kind of atypical when it comes to male leads, because it's not that he's painted as being someone who's like really muscular and like attractive and like a go-getter. That's just not his character. His character's painted as being someone who's very, very sweet. Like, he's a nice guy. So it was interesting still seeing those traits of, wait, he's not listening to what she wants. He is taking his obsession too far, and he's projecting what he wants onto her without her say so. Like, he tracks her down without her say so. And she never at any point says to him, I want you to come and find me. And he does it twice. Well, actually, kind of 3 times. Which, could be romantic, but she has never, at any point in the movie, does she express any romantic feelings towards him until she meets him at the train station. So that is a bit strange. It was just something it was surprising to see, especially for coming from a character who is quite a mild-mannered character. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting.
You're allowed to be insane if it's for love.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true.
Like,
That's what they say.
You can do bad things in the name of love, apparently.
Yeah.
But I still love the movie. I'm not saying like he's like a toxic man or anything like that. It was just an interesting lens through which to view the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my rant.
That's a hot take on Slumdog Millionaire.
8 minutes later, and I feel like you guys get the point.
I mean, I don't think I've seen that movie since it came out, so I
really
can't
love
really
it.
comment. When did it come out? Like 2008?
I think it's 2006 or something. It's a really long time
It was a
ago.
while ago.
Yeah. Well,
I remember it came out when I was 16. Because I remember it was when I was first working a Saturday job, and I had just done something like bad in my shift, and my boss had like told me off, and I spent the whole movie worrying about the fact that my boss was mad at me.
Oh, cool.
So
not
it
worrying
came
about
out,
the
like,
toxic
11 years ago.
not worrying about the toxic relationship on screen.
No, I was just being wonderfully distracted by a love story.
The only bit I remember is when like he's in a toilet and then he drops through it and then lands in some shit.
That's horrible. I hate that bit. I hate that bit so much.
That's the only bit I
As a
remember,
kid.
weirdly.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Weirdly.
But everything, you should rewatch it. The soundtrack is incredible. It's shot really well. The story's really cool. Irfan Khan is in it, pouring out for my homie.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
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 So, good. Overall, good film. But it was just like, oh wow, even in things that I love and that I consider really good movies, these tropes are still there.
Yep. I think you can always rely on Danny Boyle to deliver a solid film.
Oh yeah, Danny
You can
Boyle's
always
great. No one's
deliver into
questioning
it.
Danny Boyle.
But maybe he
Would
doesn't
anyone
write
else like to-
relationships that well. You know, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of his other films, and I can't.
Well, he didn't write the script, to be fair. It was one of, like, Slumdog was one of those ones that was on, like, the blacklist for, like, not blacklist, what do they call it?
Yeah.
The one, you know, like, there are really good scripts that no one's picking up.
Yeah, I think
and
it's called The Blacklist.
Yeah, and it was, like, highly rated for years and no one was doing it. And eventually Danny Boyle kind of got attached to it.
Yeah.
Good movie, but has some problems.
Has its flaws.
On the
its
topic
flaws.
of Danny Boyle, yes, he does make super great films. His recent one, Yesterday, not a film that I saw, but I did hear a lot of criticism about the female characters in it because they're essentially objects.
It's a good idea.
They just exist there and they don't really have any personality, any influence, and they're just kind of idolised as well. So maybe his forte just isn't
Well,
female
again,
characters.
to be fair to him, that script is a Richard Curtis script, which generally is his vibe of hapless young man falls in love with manic pixie dream girl. He kind of does it in literally all his movies.
Add in some magical circumstance.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, this episode could be purely about Richard Curtis manic pixie dream girls, because there are so many of them.
Yeah.
And they all have fabulous London flats.
Oh my god, that could be a
God.
whole other thing.
Yeah.
I want to live in Richard Curtis's London.
Yeah.
Like, where can you get a 2-bed flat that nice in like
You work in
right
a
in the
chippy or something.
like right?
You
in
work in a
Manhattan.
coffee shop.
I've always thought that about Bridget Jones when she's like in Borough Market and she lives on her own, and it's like, what the? Like,
And like,
how do you
and
afford
has a
that?
spare room.
Yeah. She has more than one.
How do
She
you
has
have
more than
spare
one
room?
room. She lives like
And
She
like
right.
a
goes,
sizable
she goes
kitchen.
on holiday a lot.
I know. How is she affording that? And she's like in and out of jobs as well. It's like, what?
But like everyone's jobs are always kind of quirky and cool. Like there was like a book editor or something.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, and they never seem to do any work.
It's like
No.
it's like
And they all have fabulous hair.
it's like what's his name in Notting Hill what's the main guy's
Hugh
name?
Grant?
Hugh Grant in Notting Hill. He like has a sort of independent bookshop, but he's got this
But
amazing apartment
He
in
does
like
have a weird flatmate though, doesn't he?
yeah, but he's got like this incredible like not penthouse, but like sort of townhouse in Notting Hill, like right on the like the main Portobello Road. It's like no way.
And he's selling
fuck
like
off.
used books for like £3.50
Yeah,
a pop.
it's like-
He's like, what are you doing?
Alright, I've written it down. Terrible depictions of London in films.
Yeah.
We will revisit that
Oh
another
yeah,
time.
that has
Oh,
that.
that would be great.
Yeah.
I have a
Next week.
I have an incredible one for that. So come back, tune in next time for
You know what?
an
If you're listening to this
incredible
one now, turn it off and just skip to the next
Skip.
one.
skip to the next one. This one's
We're out
shit.
of juice. This one is quite like I ranted about Slumdog Millionaire for 8 minutes. Did you want to listen to that content? No, you didn't. Skip to the next one. It's
No, stay. I'm about to really annoy Lissa with my picks.
Oh no! What did you pick?
No, I want there to be tension. Tara, you go next.
Oh no!
I feel like I'm being used. All right, whatever. I'm gonna go for an absolute classic, which kicked off the everyone hates toxic relationships, Twilight.
Classic.
Which yes has so many issues. I was a fan as a teenager, as were all my friends, but I feel like what it triggered, the hatred it triggered from what seemed like the whole world, wasn't exactly fair in that it was doing what a lot of films before it had done in portraying those kind of really intense teenage relationships. But I think that, I mean, it came from, it was so popular, therefore it was so hated. Same with Star Wars, you know? You just can't have that much love without the hate. But obviously it was not a good relationship in that he was 100 or something years old. That was my first issue with it.
Hey, in Buffy it was hot.
Well, if it was in Buffy.
Oh, Buffy and Angel. Oof.
Woo.
Oof.
Aren't they technically dead?
I mean, they're not technically. They are dead.
So they're dead, right? Bit of necrophilia.
But if you're
also
dead, you can't age, so you're not actually as old as that. Think about it that way.
But you have a lifetime of experience and presumably
but you're not-
maturity.
But you died, so you haven't aged. You can't age. Therefore, you don't have a birthday because you haven't aged.
Sorry. Liz, I didn't know you were a twihard. Apologies.
Actually, what's
Twihard.
really embarrassing is when the Twilight books came out. For like the first like kind of year or so, it was before the movies came out. But when the books were really popular, my friends read them, and I was going, I don't want to read those books. They sound like shit. Oh, love sucks, man. And they're like, just read it. And I read it, and I remember going to my two closest friends and saying to them, I was so wrong. These books are amazing. I love it so much. Why did I not read these books? I remember verbatim saying to them, I will put my hands up here. I was wrong.
I was
and
wrong.
I used to know, as a teenager, I never admit when I was wrong. So that's how much I love these goddamn books.
What? Okay, right. Just break for a second from the film. What was it about these books / films that made them so beloved by such a specific demographic?
Because any girl could... Bella was such... there's been a lot of like discourse around the fact that Bella is kind of an every woman. And she is. She feels the way that most teenage girls feel, just slightly out of place and awkward. And then suddenly there's this guy who's really attractive and is completely into her and just thinks she's the best thing in the world. And like makes her feel special. So I think a lot of girls could relate to that in a way. And I think as well, a really interesting video essay that Lindsay Ellis did, praise be, she's amazing, about the way people treated Twilight because it was media that was made specifically for teenage girls. And they got criticised for something that men had been doing for years. Men have been making movies about princesses falling in love with princes for years and years and years, but suddenly a woman comes along and does it, and it's like no bueno. So there's a little bit of a kind of uncomfortability about that, but we were all kind of trained from a very young age as women to like these kind of unhealthy relationships in the media that we consumed. Twilight wasn't the first one to do it. It was just it just did it the best in a weird way, in a very innocent way. It wasn't written to manipulate teenage girls at all, but it just really tapped into a moment.
To a feeling. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then what happens? At what point... Sorry, Tara, Karen.
No, what were you going to ask?
I was going to say, at what point does it change? At what, like, when do you look back and go, oh, wait, no, this relationship's horrible and toxic, and I feel guilty about loving it so much as a teenager?
I was about 24. No, I'm joking.
I think it was when I was getting into real relationships and realised what actual humans are like. And not like vampires.
I think when, from a lot of it, when the movies came out, the backlash became even bigger. So then suddenly the girls who like loved those books when they were coming out, it was less cool to like them. So I especially was one of those girls being like, oh yeah, Twilight movies, nah, kind of thing. Even though I still went and saw all of them at the cinema.
Yeah, we all went and saw the last one together.
We did.
In our first year of uni.
With
and
one of our friends' mums.
Oh yeah. But I vaguely remember that conversation where I think someone brought it up and we were like, oh yeah, I guess I could go see that. And then someone was like, oh yeah, I guess we go see that. And so we were like, yes, let's all go see it. So really excited. But at that point it was so shameful.
It was shameful to like it.
Yeah, to be subtle about it. So luckily we were a good gang.
But it does depict unhealthy relationships. Like when he goes into her room and watches her sleep, that is unhealthy. However, I thought it was the most romantic thing in the world. I was like, oh, there's this boy. He can't sleep, and all he wants to do in his night is just watch his love. Like, to me, I was like, that's so romantic. If I woke up in the middle of the night and Kira was just staring at me from a pillow, I would bat him. Like, it's so creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my
Hot
god.
though.
Oh my god! In the movie when like they do that scene, she wakes up and he's there, and like she's wearing a t-shirt and just her knickers, and I was like, oh my god, scandalous! Like a boy's in her room and she's not wearing any trousers. I was so innocent. It's like shocking how innocent I was.
Danny, did you ever like Twilight?
I've never actually seen any of them, so I feel like I've been saved in a
Wait.
way.
Well, I know what we can do for our next big
Listen,
rewatch.
don't suggest it.
I've not seen
suggest
a
it.
single Twilight movie.
Daddy,
I have
would
no
you like to watch
interest.
would you like to play the feminist Twilight drinking game?
You wouldn't make it to film 3.
I have no idea what that is, but it sounds fantastic.
It's during my final year of uni, me and Tara and our friend Ben played the feminist Twilight drinking game, which the rules are basically any time something happens where Bella is kind of being pushed around or Edward does something controlling, you drink. We also added in an extra rule for whenever our friend Ben sighed in aggravation at the movie.
We got so drunk.
And it was the single drunkest I have ever been.
Was it more that he was sighing a lot, or was it more that it's just really, there's so much like feminist stuff that you can just drink at. That's just
Both.
oh
It
god.
was both.
Yeah.
Because he was
pretty
sighing
bad.
every time. Basically, it was kind of drinking twice because he was sighing every time.
I don't think Bean's gonna watch them again.
No,
Did you
I
watch
think
all
we
of
can
them?
make him.
Did you session all
No,
of them?
we literally just watched the first one and then we all wasted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, if
Like
it's
I
just
was
the
hugging,
first
I was
one.
literally hugging the toilet.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And how long is
From
the
one
movie? The
Twilight
movie's
movie.
surely like only an hour and a half. How much did you drink within that an hour and a half?
So much. So much.
Wow. Oh well, I'm definitely up for playing this. This sounds great. This sounds great.
Tara,
Ben's
Tara
definitely
looks
not.
like she's in pain.
Is it bringing back
I'm
memories?
cool with never seeing them again.
I feel like you know, when sometimes you watch a film, you're like, I feel like I've seen you so recently. I always feel that way about Twilight. I feel like I've always seen it recently. And all of them. I feel like I've seen all of them really recently. But I'm fairly sure that I only saw Breaking Dawn Part 1 the once. But I just feel like I know it.
I agree. They all blend together for me. There's the first one, and then all the others. Which to me, mostly all I can remember is Martin Sheen. Is it Martin Sheen being
Martin
really creepy
Sheen.
with a smile?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Smart and Sheen.
Is it? Or is it Michael Sheen?
Didn't yeah,
Scoop.
Michael Sheen, I think. Michael Sheen.
Because isn't Martin Sheen the dad of Charlie Sheen?
It is, yeah.
It was
Oh,
one
it's
of the
so
Sheens.
confusing.
A Sheen.
I love the confidence with which you all three agreed
Yeah,
that it
yes,
wasn't.
Michael
Yes.
Sheen.
Martin
Martin Sheen.
Yeah. I came with a question.
And I read that article a couple weeks ago about, it was just on Quiz.
Yes.
Yes.
When they were promoting it, I think they did the same thing. They either said Martin Sheen or Charlie Sheen, and then he tweeted whoever advertised. They were like, "Could you at least get my name
Oh
right?"
god.
Oh, I love it.
I'm
God.
sorry, Michael.
Michael Sheen.
Michael,
Ma-
the Welsh one.
Michael
Sheen.
Michael
Okay, Karen, surprise us.
Alright.
Sheen.
It's a beloved film, and I think it's probably beloved by all of us here. So
If you say Beauty and the Beast, I'm
no,
gonna deck you.
no, that was too obvious. Right, and it's a film that we all like. I think we've talked about it on the podcast, but the relationship between the male and female lead is not built on solid ground, and it's mostly his fault. The Mummy. Rick O'Connell
Oh no,
is a
bad
bad dude.
Bad dude kisses her without her permission.
Yes.
Yeah, no, bad
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Just her.
Just for
Yeah.
a memory, in the opening scene in which he's introduced, he aggressively kisses her for no reason.
And then she's like, there's a scene
Yes,
of her
I
like being all
remember that.
distracted, being like, oh, damn it, girl, it was just a kiss. Like she thought like that was
And
great.
she enjoyed it, and that's messed up.
I'm-
He is constantly manhandling her, throwing her off of boats, just picking her up.
It's so true. He just froze her up. Like, he just picked her up and
Yeah.
froze her at points.
The belittling is near constant. Like,
This is so
In
good.
the first half an hour of the movie, yes, but then he starts getting the actual hots for her after he has a shave.
Does he gain any respect for her?
I don't
Yeah.
know, like,
He does, like when they're having that scene when she's drunk
yeah.
and they're sitting down, he's like, I get all these people, but I just don't get you. Like what? And he's like really impressed by the fact that she's like a historian, a librarian, and that kind of stuff. Like he does like her,
It's literally just because they're both hot.
but oh yeah, absolutely. But what I enjoy, two things. I enjoy that in that scene she is wasted and he very.
Do not set the bar that low. Don't finish that sentence, because if you say congratulations, he didn't rape her, I will be so mad.
I'm just saying, in movies that doesn't always happen. So it's good to see the contrast between him assaulting her at the beginning and then having a chance to again later and not taking it. That's character growth.
Oh, this is a low bar.
But then in the second film, in The Mummy Returns, they are like the most horn dog couple. Like they love each other.
It's
Yeah,
literally
they
just 'cause
really
they're
do,
both
don't
hot.
they?
Yeah, they just want to bang all. Like every scene is just dripping with them wanting to tear each other's clothes off, and I kind of love it. I like the fact they've got like an 8-year-old son, and the spark is still there. Congratulations.
I'm generally the second film, like they do a lot of off-screen character building and growing as a couple. That's fine, but in the first film, his behaviour is just constantly bad times.
It's not always bad times, because what I would argue, this is terrible. This guy, he literally assaults her at the beginning of the movie. I'm trying to defend it somehow, but he treats everybody terribly to begin with. It's not like specifically her. He's bad to her. What's her brother's name? Can't remember. Doesn't matter. But he's like bad to
Jonathan.
everyone. Jonathan. Until he starts liking them. So I would say that he's kind of fairly indiscriminate with his treatment of people. It's just unfortunate that she is a woman and that he kisses her without permission.
That was my pick. I appreciate your points. I still think he's a bad bloke.
He was my first crush. Like,
Brendan
I remember
Fraser.
watching The Mummy. Oh my god, I remember
Oh
watching
my.
The Mummy and him wearing those trousers and me being like, I like him in those trousers. And I stand by it, I like him in those trousers.
He,
Shoot me.
Oh my gosh.
it's just saying if you're hot enough, you can assault people.
No, that's not what
Oh,
I'm
that
saying!
is that's generally the movie rule, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are attractive enough, then it doesn't matter what you do to
Yeah,
women.
it's hot. It's not creepy if you are hot.
Yeah, Harrison Ford in every movie.
Harrison Ford in every movie. Like, Han Solo and Princess Leia are another one who are way, way up there. Like, the scene where they first kiss, I watched like a video breaking down how many times she both verbally and physically says no. And it's like 20. And he kisses her anyway.
Wow.
Ugh.
Like,
Yeah.
she like pulls her hand away, says don't do that, stop it. And like, we're like, oh, it's such a romantic movie.
Oh gosh.
Bad.
It's so bad. Yeah. I need to watch The Mummy again now. That's just I need to just remember how badly he treats her, because I do remember him like manhandling her so much. Just like
Yeah,
the
it's played for
manhandling is
laughs,
so
but he's
much.
just picking her up, throwing her off boats.
Oh, I'm not going to defend it. I was like, he's trying to save her life. The boat's on fire.
She's a woman. She could save her own life.
Yeah, she's a powerful,
She's
independent woman.
responsible.
She saves the whole day because she reads the book.
She does.
Yeah.
save
She's
the whole
she's
day.
she has a lot of agency. Like, she takes things she shouldn't take. Like, she's the one who gets him out of jail because she wants to go and find what's it called? I've seen this movie so many times. The place that they're trying to find. Hamanatra. There you go.
Okay, cool. Okay, I guess there's difference here between, say, the Mummy and Slumdog, is that in the Mummy, it's not that she's poorly written, he's written as a bad bloke, and we as an audience are supposed to still root for him.
His bad
In-
his bad blokeness is passed off as ha ha funny. Like,
Yes.
it's ha ha funny woman that is butt of joke.
Yes, but I
Yeah.
suppose with Slumdog, they're just not developed characters
Yes.
who are just kind of there to fill like a story void.
They love each other because
True.
they love each other.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Alright, Danny, what have you
All
got?
right, well, moving on. Okay. Well, originally, I mean, you know, this podcast wasn't sold to me properly because I thought you meant celebrity couples. So
Okay.
there's me spending, you know, a good half an hour reading up about celebrity couples, thinking, who's a terrible couple? And then I settled on Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, and I was like, yeah, I'm prepared to talk about all this Scientology shit and how it came between them and how, you know. And then we come on, and it's like, no, we meant characters. And
Right, I'd just like to confirm that Melissa did say couples we loved but now realise are kind of yikes for whatever reason. Could be that one is overly possessive, could be that they have no reason to be together. To be honest, that could be about actual people we know.
Exactly.
Like, that's so broad.
Yeah, but also, to be fair, when we were discussing, before we hit record on this podcast, and Danny confessed he was doing it about celebrities, Tara quite rightly said, this is a movie podcast.
they're in the movies.
Damn
They're in
me.
the movie. To be fair, I could actually talk about their characters in Eyes Wide Shut, in which a married couple of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman play a married couple in the film Eyes Wide Shut. So there you go.
Nice save. Nice save.
Just saved it.
Go
No,
ahead. Talk about
I've
Eyes
changed
Wide
my
Shut.
tune now, and obviously I have to go with the crowd. So hear me out, because I'm a conformist and a sheep. I am going with my choice for characters are Padme and Anakin in
Correct.
Star Wars episodes
Correct.
1, 2, and 3.
But their legacy lived on 4 to
I mean,
9.
yes, yeah, it definitely did. I mean, let's be honest, like their relationship is so lame. It's so lame. It
That is the word.
It's like not established at all. I mean, like their only interaction is him just constantly moaning, just constant moaning, and talking about his distaste for sand. That's literally like their only interactions as a couple. And I'm pretty sure, like in the third movie, he talks about like doing all of this bad shit to save her, and then meanwhile he's like force choking her or something like that. He's like force choking her while he's like, I'm doing all this to save you. It's like,
Yeah, he physically abuses his pregnant wife.
yeah,
But I think
With space magic.
we can all agree, Darth Vader, bad bloke.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's
definite
important.
villain,
yeah.
definite villain.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you can't have a relationship built on your distaste for sand, can you? Really? I mean, it just doesn't go anywhere other than that. I mean, like it is coarse and it does get everywhere, but I mean that's not a basis for a healthy relationship.
Did she even say that she also doesn't like sand?
I don't think
No,
she ever
I think she
explicitly says that she doesn't like sand.
No, he says that he likes. He says that sand isn't like her because she's everything smooth, and he says this while she's wearing a backless dress, and he starts kind of putting his fingers on her back, and it's really creepy.
It's so uncomfortable.
What's their age gap?
10 years.
Minimum. Oh,
No.
she's supposed to be 16.
She's supposed to be 16. He's meant to be like 8, I think.
Yeah, so like 8-ish years. But also, she looks the same between the first film and the second film.
Yeah.
And he has a different bloody actor.
Yeah, I think they should have cast her younger.
Yeah.
And let's.
Or, okay, sorry, Daddy, go ahead.
No. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, there are so many like tells of a bad relationship there. I mean, like, you know, for one, like nobody even knows about their relationship. No one at all. No one at all. Like until the very end when she's pregnant and she's like, "It's Anakin's." It's like no one knows about them at all. And he's, you know, he's very possessive. He's very obsessive as well. He like obsesses the hell out of her.
Okay, Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman are the same age. Can confirm.
Okay, well, that would be nice if their characters were.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, he just generally makes her feel uncomfortable, and you know,
He makes everyone feel
I
uncomfortable.
think she only finds him attractive because he's a space wizard.
Yeah, but he basically kind of badgers her into loving him.
Yeah.
It's like he's obsessed with her, and she's like, "Oh my god, Annie, forgot about you." And then he was like, "I've thought about her every day." He actually like gets angry and complains to Obi-Wan, like saying like she didn't even remember me. I've thought about her every day since we met, and she's like, "Yeah, she's busy. She's a senator. She got stuff to be doing that isn't you, little boy." Yeah, it is very, very strange because when he kind of keeps badgering her. She kisses him one time, and then he's mad at her for not kissing him again.
that's right, yeah.
And then it's only when they're just about to go and presumably die when she's like, "I love you," and as an audience are like, "Why and when?"
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of scenes of them together, and yet I don't feel that they fell in love.
It's very true.
Do you remember the rollicking in the field?
The frolicking in the
the
fields where they
frolicking in
roll
the
around
field.
each other. But that's around the time when they have this kiss that he gets very mad about, and he keeps yelling at her. And there's like that scene where they're in front of the fireplace, and she keeps on like he keeps sitting close to her, and she keeps like shifting away, being like, "No, we can't stop it. No, we're not meant to. You're a Jedi. Don't do it." And he's like, "No, love you. This is fine."
Terrible relationship.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It also annoys me in Revenge of the Sith when they haven't seen each other for a while, and they've got a secret relationship, and they're in this big hall. And they just like go run up to each other and embrace, and like their friends are still like only just walking away.
C-3PO's only just walked
Like,
off screen.
It's a wide shot, but they're still in the shot.
Yeah, it's not right.
It's not good. It's not good.
I'm sure it's all fixed by the Clone Wars.
I'm sure.
Like if you
Oh
just
my
watched the
God.
full TV
Yeah.
show,
I
I'm sure
want to
everything.
watch Clone Wars so bad.
You know, I'm sure like in, I don't know, another 20 years, George Lucas will go back and probably add something else in there to make it, you know, he'll CG the characters to give them a sort of love arc that makes sense, maybe. Who knows?
We can only hope.
can only
So
hope.
okay, this is one thing. The thing I'm maddest about with the whole Anakin Padme love story, and I have strong feelings about it.
Mhm.
It is the waste of one of John Williams' most incredible themes.
Oh, it's
That
so tragic.
Piece
Sad.
of music is so romantic and so sad and so brilliantly encapsulates the story that we should have got.
The tragedy of their love. Yeah.
So true. I mean, like, that piece of music just speaks for everything, doesn't it? Really, like, that's the only evidence that you get of some sort of relationship and sort of like love
Yeah.
and
'Cause
heartbreak.
he's just quivering. He's just lip quivering, staring at her while she's looking at a sunset, and you're like, "There's nothing here." And then the music plays, and you're like, "Oh my god, go to him!"
Yeah, like
And it's
when
nothing
they
to
get
do
married,
with the
there was like,
script.
at the end of that movie, there was a
Yeah.
real feeling of like, oh my god, these star-crossed lovers, like because of the music.
It's all John Williams.
Yeah.
All
He
of it.
carried those movies
All
on
of
his back. Him and Ewan McGregor
Yeah.
were like,
He,
hop on,
like,
boys,
he should have
we've got
gotten
this.
Padme.
Oh my god, I once read like a rewrite of the original, not original, the prequels of what if Padme and Obi-Wan kind of had a thing, and it works so good because that would be the ultimate betrayal of why he would go evil as well.
Does it make Padme a bit of an object? She's just a thing for space wizards to fight over.
No, not so much. The way it was written gave her a lot more agency of like she was a lot more kind of captured and scared of Anakin, and Obi-Wan was kind to her and she kind of
I like
was
it.
drawn to him. Yeah.
I like it a lot. I feel like it has a lot more nuance than the kind of story that we were given, and I think it would, yeah, like you say, I think it would have given reason to Anakin turning towards the dark side. It would have, at least answered that, that big question of why.
Because at the end when he gets angry at Padme, he's like, "You betrayed me." It's why he chokes her. There's no reason to choke your pregnant wife or anyone.
Because he's slightly confused about what she's been doing.
Yeah, whereas if there was like more of a dramatic tension behind, or if he at least suspected something, even if there was nothing going on, even if they kind of wrote into his character flaws that he is jealous of something, and that's a bad thing, that would be interesting to see.
And instead of just a silly mix-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, is that
happenstance.
like if they just stopped and had a chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. As long as we're talking about the ways we would have fixed Star Wars, I really think their whole relationship would have been a lot less weird if they had Phantom Menace child Anakin not be 8 and be like 13.
Yeah.
Just be like a slightly older, because that makes everything make more sense. Yes, he's definitely too old to be trained as a Jedi if he's like a teenager. It would explain his like emotional like instability, and like it might even make his obsession seem less weird if he was like by the script hormonal at the time he met her, because otherwise he's just an 8-year-old who meets a nice woman and then thinks about her every day for 8 years, and it's weird.
Yeah, because 8-year-olds don't
Or
get
10
those.
years
They don't
even,
really
yeah.
get those romantic attachments because they have no drive to.
Yeah.
But then if he was a teenager, I think it would take away from the relatability and the likability of young Anakin because he's cute. So that's why you can just kind of roll with whatever crazy shenanigans he's getting up to. So if he's a 13-year-old, he's like, ew.
He might have some actual anguish.
No, that's a good point. That is fair. Like, because it's supposed to be shocking that you see Darth Vader as an actual child and see how far he falls.
And innocent.
Then maybe make Padme younger, but then they have to make. It's weird that she's like a 14-year-old leader of a country.
That was a terrible idea.
That was awful. But all of Phantom
Did they ever
Menace.
explain why that was alright?
No, and if they just start at Attack of the Clones, you don't need to know anything happened in that movie. All you need to know is that she's a senator, and at some point they met each other, and they could be the same age, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they're not the same age,
Yeah.
which makes it. I'm not saying that like you can't have age differences in couples. Hollywood does it all the time, and it's always that women are much, much younger than the men. However, it's the fact that you see an actual child be with Natalie Portman, who is a grown woman at this point.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
And they're like, oh no, she's 14. It's like, no,
Fine, yeah.
no, she's not.
She's Natalie
To be
Portman.
fair, I think she was only like kind of 20 or 21. She was young at the time, but she wasn't a 14-year-old.
Yeah, but the problem is you age up one actor and not the other.
Yeah.
It's super jarring.
I think that I agree with you in that you could have made Anakin maybe like 13 or 14. But the only problem is if he was like 13 or 14, in the movie he would have spent a lot less time making pod races and probably more time just masturbating in his room.
Yeah, that's why I said ew. Nobody wants to see a teenage
It's
boy.
like, get out,
going
Obi-Wan!
through puberty.
No!
I suppose it makes his love for her less innocent
It's like,
and pure.
what are you doing with C-3PO in there?
Oh no! Daddy!
It would have had a very different tone. C-3PO wouldn't have just been a
Oh.
friendly robot project. It would have definitely
No.
been something else.
Well, it really would have shown that he was truly evil. Abusing his let's.
Why has he got-
Sex bot.
Why has he got an eye socket between his legs?
Oh, Danny!
God, get out, Obi-Wan!
Oh my god. Does anyone else have any other toxic couples they would like to bring to the forefront of discussion?
What, a quick fire round?
Yeah, go on. Throw some out.
I'll do a quick fire. Grease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Danny
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sandy?
Yeah, because doesn't she, like, by the end of the movie, like, completely change her look and her kind of...
Yeah, they both changed themselves
Yeah.
for each
No,
other.
he puts a cardigan on for her. She goes through a full body and personality makeover.
Yeah, and she starts smoking as well, which is, you know, probably the worst change in her lifestyle.
That
yeah,
really
and she doesn't even know
is.
how to smoke it either. She kind of puts it up to her mouth and like, and then kind of throws it away. You know.
Yeah, that does make their relationship toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad one. It's a real
Oh,
bad
sorry,
one.
I got lost in thought pondering about him in that stupid cardigan.
Ah,
At the end,
yeah.
he's like, but to be fair,
It really
at
changed
the
him.
end, he is like, oh no, I should try and like, because he take up track at one point because she likes track or something. Like he tries to like the things that she likes.
Today I learned Lissa is a
Yeah, but-
scumbag apologist.
I'm grasping at straw. I
You
don't
keep
even
finding the one redeeming thing they put in and be like, that doesn't make up for all of the
just
treating
to
her like.
clarify.
Yeah,
I don't even
he
like
does treat her
Grease.
poorly.
I don't even like Grease. I don't know why I'm defending Danny Zuko here. I don't know why I'm defending
Remember he
John
spends-
Travolta here.
Remember he lies to all his friends about when they met, and then
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah.
he's trying to be like a lad, and he's just awful about it.
But that is very teenage boy, and it shows it shows the consequences of that. When she's like, "I'm not interested in you, go away." So, if anything, like, yes, he is a bad bloke, but it's a story of a bad bloke learning that his behaviour isn't acceptable. And for some reason, it would be work better if he stayed in the cardigan and like she maybe put on a leather jacket, but they're fundamentally the same people. The fact that she goes through like a thorough sex pot transformation and he throws off the cardigan very excitedly kind of undermines it up until that point, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
Any more for any more? Any more couples?
Yeah.
I mean, just for quickfire, Beauty and the Beast, The
Don't
Little
you-
Mermaid,
No, Little Mermaid, yes. Little Mermaid,
most
I agree.
other princess films.
No. And no, the classics, yes. Renaissance, no, apart from Little Mermaid.
Alright, fine. But also, as originally written, Belle and Beast is not. It's not cool. He does.
Okay.
We don't have time, miss. We don't have time.
Join us for another
I'm just gonna-
podcast where we discuss.
Let's keep it succinct. You are wrong, and he learns, and he loves her. Don't!
Okay. For the sake of time, we will. Yeah, I agree with you.
So, next week's podcast will be on representations of London and also why Kieran is wrong about Beauty and the Beast.
Could it be just like representations of big cities? Because you could say that of, you know, New York and Paris and all these different places.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's because we just know London the
Yeah,
most.
I just know that you can't take that, get the tube from that place to that place in Thor 2 and stuff like that for
Yeah.
London, which I'm sure I wouldn't be able to do for New York, but I'm still down.
Okay, I just have a fun fact for New York.
Go, give it to us now. Let's end on a fun note.
All right. So it's a very common trope, film set in New York, particularly in Manhattan, that there will be some sort of crime or something will happen down an alleyway. But Manhattan architecture is built in a way that there are no alleyways.
So true.
Because it's such a concentrated city. They don't have the space to just have pointless alleyways that just have rubbish bins in. So any alleyways you see in films, even if they were filmed in Manhattan, that would have been a soundstage.
Oh my god, that is interesting.
They don't do alleyways. And I have been to New York, and I have not seen an alleyway.
It's
How
very
about you,
true.
Danny?
No, didn't see a single alleyway when you're there because everything's built in blocks. So like you have a block of you have a block of buildings. So there's never any there are only roads in between those blocks, and there is no alleyways whatsoever. So like when you're when you watch like Spider-Man and you see him beat up a bunch of like thugs in a sort of back alley, there isn't anything like that. No, you're so right. You're so right.
Yeah. That's a complete
So
movie
right.
creation. So.
Is that only Manhattan, or is it the other like districts?
No, there's definitely alleyways.
I think it's Manhattan because the other ones have the space.
Yeah, maybe like in
not an
Brooklyn or
island.
something. And actually, maybe I think when we went to like Harlem or something, I'm pretty sure there was a bit more space for alleyways there, but maybe Manhattan not. Yeah.
I feel like we saw some alleys in Queens.
Definitely alleys in Queens. 100%.
Yep.
That is a bombshell to end the podcast on.
Yeah, I think we're done now.
We're done
Very
here.
hot. I got so angry, and I'm really sorry. It's like 30 degrees in this room. I'm dying. So I'm gonna go have a cold shower, and thanks everyone for listening. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Goodbye.